Hi, in this video I am going to show you how to use the pen tool to draw different types of curves or lines inside Photoshop. I already have a Photoshop file set up that is showing me two different layers, one called click points and one called curves. The curves layer is just a template that I'm going to basically be tracing over, and the click points is a layer I created that has those red dots. The red dots represent where I'm going to click with my mouse. Inside Photoshop, using the pen tool, you can create vector-based shapes and curves, or also called paths. To use the pen tool, you'll see the pen tool is over here. If I click and hold, you can see there's actually many different kinds of pen tools you can use. Pen tool, which is your traditional pen tool, drawing Bezier curves with anchor points and direction lines. You have the freeform pen tool, which is basically like using a pencil if you were going to trace over something. What is not so great about the freeform pen tool is that when you use it, it generates a lot of anchor points. And the goal when using the pen tool is to have the smoothest curve possible, so the fewest amount of anchor points will give you that result. The curvature pen tool is it's new as of 2 versions. I believe 2018 was the version where it lets you draw perfect shaped curves, half circles. It's actually really neat. Once you've practiced with the pen tool, you can practice with the curvature pen tool to draw some really nice shapes. And then these last 3 allow us to modify the curve, either adding or deleting anchor points, and then converting the point tool or changing the direction, which I will show you how to do using keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to use the pen tool, and you'll have this template set up that shows me 4 different types of curves in Photoshop or Illustrator. The pen tool is the base tool or the foundational tool of Photoshop. It's also, you can find it in InDesign, so it works the same in all 3 programs. And we call these different curves, or we classify them as straight corner, and that's basically just creating like a right angle. Straight lines, you're just turning at a corner, that's a right angle. Then you have what's called a straight line to a curve. Then you have a curve to curve, which is a smooth, it kind of makes an S. And then you have a curve to curve corner where you have basically this hump shape and you're changing the direction right here at this anchor point. So to start, I'm going to go ahead and click on this click points layer. It's locked so that when I start creating my curves, it'll generate a shape layer. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click one time with my mouse. I'm going to left click and I set an anchor point. Now if I hold the shift key down and click again, I'm drawing a straight line. And I went ahead and I created, I set the fill to none and the stroke to blue, and I set a 10 pixel width on the stroke just so I can see the lines when they're appearing. So if I come back here and I hold the shift key down again and I click, you can see that I have drawn, or I've traced, this right angle. You can also see that I've generated a layer called Shape 1. And if I activate the Paths panel, you can see that I actually have a path that has been created. This is temporary, so that if I wanted to, I could right click on it and I could turn that path into a selection if I wanted to, or an alpha channel. So we're not going to do that right now, but this does get temporarily generated. I'd have to save it or use it for something else. The minute I go and create another path, it will be deleted. I'm going to come back to the layers panel and you'll see that I easily created that. So you're just going to click. You're not actually dragging the mouse, you're clicking each time. So I'm going to press the enter key and that actually sets the path. You can see it's not highlighted and you can see my shape layer 1 has been created. Once I've pressed the enter key, I've now set the path and I could generate another path. So now this time I'm going to go ahead and draw the straight line to curve. So I'm going to click and let go of the mouse, hold the shift key down, click again, and I'm left clicking, and that draws that straight line. Now on this third one, I'm actually going to do 2 things at the same time. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag the mouse at the same time. So I'm going to left click and I'm holding the mouse down right now. I have not let go. And as I pull down and to the right, you can see that I am shaping that curve. And I can just, I still have the mouse pressed, but you can see I'm changing the direction line. That changes how that curve works. And so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and I let go, and you can see that I've been able to generate that shape. So these 2 lines right here, these are called direction lines, and these points, they're called anchor points. So and you'll see I have another shape layer that was created. If I come over to paths, you'll see I have a different path that was created. I'm going back to the layers, press enter, it sets that path. I'm going to do this one. This S shape, this is the natural way that the pen tool wants to work. It actually wants to continue to make these S shapes. So I'm going to just click on this first point. I'm not going to drag my mouse. I'm not going to change the direction of the curve. And now when I click on this middle one, I'm going to left click, hold, and drag down. And just kind of eyeball it. There you go. And then if I can go ahead and if I click on this third point and I'm going to click and drag up and to the right, you'll see that I'm still drawing that shape. It's not exactly right. It's not totally following the path, but you can see that I'm getting that kind of S shape. Pressing enter. So you can see I've got that kind of S shape. It's not perfect. That's okay. This is just for practice. And now I'm going to go ahead and do this last one. This is the harder one because what I have to do is I have to change the direction of the curve at this point in the middle. I'm going to quickly zoom out a little bit just so it's a little bit easier to see. Reselect my pen tool. So I'll go ahead and doing this fourth curve, I'm going to click, hold, and drag down. That's real nice. I got this shape. Now if I were to click here, and I'm trying to pull, I'm not getting the shape I want because the pen tool wants to automatically make that S shape. So what I have to do is I actually have to get rid of this direction line right here. I'm going to do a Control Z to undo that last line. And so what's happening is I have this direction. What I can do is I can remove it, and it's essentially when I remove the directions as if I'm starting over like I did right here. It has no direction. And so there's a couple ways to do it. What I like to do is I hold the Alt key down, and when I do, and I float my cursor right over here, you can see how your pen tool gets that little caret in the lower right corner. And if you just click, I have the Alt key down, that actually deleted or removed that part of the direction. So I can come back and draw my next curve, right? If I go into my history panel and let's undo and try again, we'll go back to this place. So before I held the Alt key down, I'm still holding the Alt key down, but this time I'm gonna, if I want to hold the Alt key down and hover my cursor at the end of the direction line, you'll see you get that caret, and I can click, hold, and I can just pull it up if I wanted to as well. And then I can click, hold, and drag. Press enter. And that sets the curves. Now there are two more tools I want to show, the path selection and direct selection. These two tools over here are meant to be used with the pen tool. The path tool, if I use it, that's the black arrow. When I select it, I can click on my path. Whoops, I'm not on the right layer. Hello. I have to click on shape 1. Click on the path, and I can actually move it, right? So if I click on shape 2, that gives me this path. I can move it. All right. So if I use the direct selection tool, and I'm going to be on the shape 2 layer right here, what that lets me do is I can actually click on these anchor points, and I can manipulate them. I can move them. I can change the direction of them, right? So the path, the black arrow, the path tool lets you move the path, and the white arrow and direct selection tool lets you manipulate the path. Okay? So there you go. That's a quick overview of how the pen tool works. I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you for watching.